edge here and there. The tall, thin vape twins who can barely keep their eyes open, even as they blow smoke into your face as you pass them on the sidewalk. The guy with the elaborate facial tattoo asking for coffee money in front of the pediatrician's office. The lady who sits on a tuffet of garbage bags in the bank vestibule. I like this about where I live. I grew up in a sleepy Wisconsin suburb where the most exciting thing that ever happened was two rival dentists got into a fist fight at a sports bar once. When I came to New York City for school, I never looked back. My patients are primarily from the privileged masses. Prospect Park soccer moms and aging hipster dads, anxious, gainfully employed millennials, and their oddly relaxed unemployed counterparts. The lot of them were silenced for a few weeks by the collective sonic boom of the pandemic. In the beginning, they resisted the Zoom sessions. But then they caved one by one, and those first appointments were cacophonies of panic. Whatever trivial transgressions they'd experienced or caused in their former lives were crushed like a kombucha can under a Prius tire. Very few of them got the virus or knew anyone who'd died, but still, their wild fear seeped through the screen, and I was there to absorb it. I felt extra useful in those days, shepherding them from one day to the next. So many of them moving through the most precious realizations. I should spend less time on social media and more time with my kids. I should listen more than I talk. I should stop forcing people to look at my dick. But then, after a couple of months, they realized they would probably not die, that they were safe in their little corner of the world. So they went back to old habits and old complaints, running out our time together wringing their hands about emotional affairs with their work husbands, or how Dad had yelled too much, and I'd send them off with a virtual pat on the head and a prescription for their Lexapro Klonopin refills. So it's not triage in the ER. Who cares? This is my job. And not to put too fine-tip a point on the script pad, all those complaints and meds paid for the brownstone where I live with my family on the parlor and upper levels, and meet with patients in the ground floor office. I still get a flutter of excitement when I see a new patient, because it really is like a blind date in many ways. Will we gel? Will we click? Will he recognize me as a fellow human and show me something? But between you and me, it doesn't matter if he decides to show me anything, because I'll see it anyway. I watch the hands. I watch the legs crossing. I watch the gazes toward the window. I listen for the vocal modulation when he's speaking about money, sex, mom, dad. Give me an hour, I'll tell you who you are. Second thought, make that 50 minutes. It's a steaming June day after arguably the worst year humans have seen in a good long while, and a new patient is coming without a referral, which is even more exciting, a blind leading the blind date. There is an internal staircase leading from my home down to my office. But I walk outside and down the stoop and enter through the door under the stairs just so I can see what he will see. In front of the windows, a cream-colored couch with a small cylindrical table at one end where he can place his phone and water bottle. Also on the table are a box of tissues and a dimmable display alarm clock, which is for me to keep track of the time. He will also have an identical clock to look at. On another cylindrical table, next to my wood-framed chair, an office chair that isn't supposed to look like it belongs in an office. But he has a choice. On the other side of his table is a plush swivel chair. Where he sits will tell me the first thing. Most people will take the couch because it is more directly positioned in front of me. They're not thinking too much about it. But those who choose the swivel chair don't mind sitting at an angle, or they enjoy swiveling, or they don't want to feel like a patient. They've been taught to associate couches with shrinks, and they don't want any part of that. So if they choose the swivel chair, they're making a little statement, crossing their arms and digging in their heels. Nope, not going to tell you anything. There are 2 doors behind my chair, one leading to the kitchen, where I keep an espresso machine for myself, and the other to a half bath that patients can use. There's a full-length mirror hung on the door of the patient bed.